It clearly is a period piece, so you're not playing in modern times, and there must have been some accommodations to certainly lighting, but maybe even the cinematography to give the show the look that it has, which to me is extremely natural. It feels really natural, believable. Everything feels, almost like time period appropriate, but also modern in a way. It's an interesting blend. And I'd love to hear about sort of the project comes to you, you need to start developing a look. How do you do it? What are you thinking about?
Well, obviously there's a great history of period films, especially of this era, throughout film history. And so you pull from that a bit, but the intent was always to try and put a twist on it, to try and modernize it. Obviously the scripts decide how a show is going to look every time for me. So you could see that there was going to be something modern, something contemporary in the feel of it. It was difficult to sort of understand at the beginning because obviously we had to honor the period requirements. I knew I was going to be not lighting with practical electrical fixtures. I was going to be shooting with a lot of candlelight and natural light. And for me, it was important to stick with that and to honor that and not go off base, even though the intent was to try and put this sort of twist on things. So a lot of that came through in shot design and certainly in production design and costumes and hair and all that, and the acting style and certainly the casting, which when you see the casting, it's like, oh my gosh, that's not like anything else out there. So in that, it gave us and it gave me a liberty and a freedom to sort of address this very deep, range of films that have attacked this era and around this era. Barry Lyndon was a big influence. We looked at The Duchess. We looked at a lot of different projects and paintings as well to sort of inspire us, but also to not be too precious about it, because that was the idea of the show, is to put a modern eye on a period piece.
How do you mean precious? What do you mean by that? Not to be too precious?
Well, I guess it means not to be afraid of contemporary stylings, camera movement, framing. To me, there were two things at work in every scene. There were these sort of tableaus, which are achingly beautiful throughout our locations and certainly on our sets. And so we're touring England and looking at all these places, and you just can't help but want to shoot a perfectly symmetrical, beautiful tableau moment because of the architecture and the design, the styling. But then the mix in with that sort of a modern, emotional style of shooting, getting in close to people, handheld occasionally, a lot of Steadicam, so that you feel this human aspect to it, that it wasn't always, people weren't locked into these tight frames that they couldn't move from. So I guess that's what I mean by precious. We wanted it to feel alive and to feel current.